Mr. Nick, he's our pick. It's Mr. Nick. Yay!
Let's get started talking about our first animal. The first animal we're going to talk about is a polar bear. Yeah, take a look at that polar bear. Did you know that a boy polar bear, can be up to 10 feet tall? 10 feet tall. Like, I cannot jump that high with my hand. I can't do it. It's crazy. And
That's so big.
And weigh up to 1,000 pounds? That's like more than 5 Mr. Nicks. That's how heavy a polar bear can be. That's crazy. And did you know that a polar bear is such a good swimmer? It can actually hold its breath underwater for up to 3 minutes.
Wow, I didn't know polar bears could swim so well.
3 minutes, that's amazing. I can only hold my breath for like maybe 30 seconds. You're an alligator, you might be able to do better than me.
Yeah, I can.
And did you know that a polar bear, even though it has white, beautiful white fur, that its skin under all that fur is actually black? I didn't know that. And the reason why is because the black helps attract the heat, which makes sense. You want to stay warm if you're living in the Arctic with all that ice, right? And a polar bear's paw can be up to 12 inches wide. Kids, this right here is 12 inches. This is how big a paw for a polar bear could be. Look at my hand. Not even close. Can you imagine a polar bear? Ow, ooh, that big paw coming at you? No thank you. And a polar bear also, not only have it got hit with that big paw with those big claws, 42 teeth. 42. The regular human adult only has 28 teeth. 32 if you count the wisdom teeth, but 42 teeth? A polar bear is an animal you definitely do not want to mess with if you come across one in the wild. Let's take a look at the next animal, which is an Arctic fox. Those are pretty cute.
That's really cute.
Now kids, I said a polar bear's paw could be 12 inches wide. An Arctic fox is only about 12 inches tall. That's it. That's how big an Arctic fox is standing up. But a polar bear's paw, right? So tiny, right? And you know what's also kind of cool about the Arctic fox is in the winter when it's snowing and white everywhere, its fur is white. But when the summer comes, if it's in an area where all that snow melts, the fur turns brown. That's for camouflage. Yeah, camouflage means that you want to look like all the stuff surrounding you so that other animals can't see you. Mm-hmm.
That's really smart.
It is, because you know, the reality of living in the wild is animals sometimes want to eat other animals. That's how they eat. So if you look like all the stuff around you, it's harder for them to see you. And when it is snowing, they have a lot of fur on their feet to keep their little paws warm. So like, you know,
like
just
socks?
Socks, exactly. Socks. Good one, Allie. And when a litter is when you have like puppies, you know, like a dog, if it has a litter, it's called, all those puppies. An Arctic fox, when they have a litter, can have 5 to 8 pups in a litter. That's like little tiny, these little guys. Oh.
I bet they look so cute.
So cute. And then if an adult is only 12 inches tall, those guys gotta be so little. They're so little. Super cute. The Arctic fox. Take a look at the Arctic wolf. The Arctic fox was pretty cute. The Arctic wolf is actually, I think, that's a pretty good looking animal too. What do you think, Allie?
Yeah, it's pretty cute.
Yeah. Now the Arctic wolf is smaller than wolves that you would normally see in North America. I don't know why that is. And it's actually, this is a little complicated, but it's actually the same subspecies as the dogs that we have at home. So it's actually more closely related to a dog you might have in your house, even if it's a different type of dog. Doesn't look like the Arctic wolf. And the Arctic wolves are really, really smart because, you know, one wolf trying to catch food may not be easy, but they hunt and they travel in packs. So a group of wolves will work together to try to find food. And It gets a little complicated.
That's smart. That's good teamwork.
Yeah, I'm not going to get into all of that stuff, but it's good teamwork because sometimes you have to work together to achieve your goals, and the Arctic wolf definitely does that. Next, let's take a look at a whale. This is a beluga whale. Now, they live in the Arctic Ocean, and the beluga whale, you can see right there, is a very white color whale, but the babies are actually gray or brown, and it takes 7 to 9 years to fully turn to that white color. That's a long time.
That is really long.
Yeah, and a beluga whale is actually one of the only whales that have teeth. A lot of whales don't have teeth.
Why do they need teeth?
I'm pretty sure it's to eat the fish that they eat. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And belugas, they travel like the Arctic wolf, they travel in packs of 10 or more. So they really travel in groups. I think that helps protection. That also helps them find their food. And speaking of finding food, they use something called echolocation to find food. That means they make a sound and then they listen for the sound echoes to come back to them. And they can tell, well, that sounds like that hit the bottom of the ocean. That sounds like that hit the bottom of the ocean, but that right there, that came back quicker. I think there might be food right there, and it helps them find their food. That's pretty interesting.
That sounds like a lot of work.
Sounds like a lot of work, but if they're in the dark ocean, it's hard to see, but they can make that noise and hear the echoes and stuff. The sound, I think, helps a lot. And also what's cool about the beluga whale is that if you see most whales or fish in general, right, when they move, their whole body moves. But the bones in the neck of a beluga whale are not all like fused together. They're individual, like us, which means a beluga whale can actually turn its head a little bit. It actually can look around a little bit without moving the entire body like most whales or fish. That's pretty interesting. I bet that helps it find food too. So let's go back to land animals now and take a look at a caribou, or you might also know it as a reindeer. Wow, look at the reindeer. You know what a reindeer is?
I do know reindeer.
Yep. Okay, so a caribou or a reindeer can be up to 7 feet long. That's, again, longer than I can reach my arm side to side. That's very big and weigh 400 to 500 pounds. That's a lot. And did you know that a caribou or a reindeer is the only type of deer where the women have antlers too?
I didn't know that. I thought only boys had the antlers.
Most deers, that's the truth, but a reindeer, the females, the girls, they can have antlers too, and they use those antlers not only to protect themselves against, other animals, but since they live in the snow, they use their antlers to push the snow on the ground out of the way to look for food. So I guess that makes sense why the female reindeers have the antlers too. It makes sense, right?
That's really cool. They have like tools on their head.
Exactly. Everybody needs to eat. And reindeer or caribou, they can travel in huge groups or packs. Like, let's take a look at that picture of all these caribou. Like sometimes up to 200,000 together. That's crazy. That's so big.
You know what I like, Mr. Nick?
What's that?
That most of these animals stay with their friends and family all the time.
They do. And for caribou especially, they do it just for protection. It's hard, to fend off other animals out there that are looking for a meal. But if you all stick together, it helps. It helps. And speaking about packs, this is interesting. When a baby caribou is born, check this out. It can walk within 3 to 6 hours after being born and keep up with the pack.
Wow.
Yeah. So the herd of caribou, they have to keep moving sometimes because, let's be real, there's other animals out there that are looking for food. So when that baby's born, 3 to 6 hours after being born, it's with the herd, it's walking. That's amazing. 3 to 6 hours. I couldn't even walk after like 6 months, right? Like it takes a year sometimes for babies to walk, humans, 3 to 6 hours. That's cool. Let's go back to an animal that can travel around the water pretty well, and that's a seal. There's 6 different species of Arctic seals. That's seals that live where it's very, very cold, and they can be 5 to 8 feet long, which is pretty big. Now, in order to stay warm, seals have a large layer of blubber, or like fat just to help keep the warmth inside of them because it's freezing out there.
So it's like their jacket?
Yeah, kind of like wearing a big heavy jacket. And they eat fish, which is really high in those healthy fats to keep them insulated with blubber and keep them warm. Now, seals, a lot of times, will actually live on floating blocks of ice. Not very big, but floating blocks of ice because then that keeps them kind of protected from polar bears. We talked about polar bears can swim and stay underwater for 3 minutes. Well, if you're out in the middle of, the floating block of ice, it might be hard for that polar bear to get you. So that's pretty smart.
That's really smart.
And let's take a look at a picture of this guy. This is a hooded seal, and he has a sack on his nose that he can blow up. It's crazy. It's like a red sack. And now he does this to either try to intimidate other seals to make him look tough, or because he thinks that the girl seals think he's kind of like, hey, that's kind of cute. What do you think, Allie? You think that big red sack blown up on his nose is cute? Is that weird looking?
It's okay.
It's okay, yeah. It's a little different. It looks like he's blown a big snot booger to me, but I mean, hey, I don't know. Maybe seals think that stuff's kind of cute. All right, let's take a look now at a moose. Now, earlier we talked about reindeer. Now, a moose is part of the deer family also, and it's the largest member of the deer family. It's the second largest land mammal in all of North America or Europe, only second to the bison, just so you know. It's so tall that when it's standing, right, and it's 4 legs, it's standing, its shoulder or where its back is 7 feet tall. That's way taller than me. Way taller than me. 7 feet, that's crazy. Now earlier we talked about how the reindeer, they stay together in herds. Moose do not do that. They actually stay pretty much to themselves. They do for most of the year. They stay pretty much to themselves. It's just, I don't know, that's weird to me. It seems like you'd want some friends around, but I guess not. And see those huge antlers they have? Those antlers grow every year between spring and fall for like 6 months there. Those antlers grow. And then when the winter comes, those antlers come off so they help them conserve energy when it gets cold. But I didn't know that. I didn't know that they're antlers that they grow and then they come off every single year. That was interesting to me. What do you think, Allie?
I didn't know that either.
I did not know that.
Because they get really big.
Huge. It's really cool shape. I didn't know that. And they come off in the winter. And it's funny, I feel like every time we see something like a moose or something like around Christmas, they always have their antlers, but that's not true. They should be off. Interesting. All right, let's take a look at this interesting animal. This is a narwhal. A narwhal. It's actually a whale. It's a medium-sized whale, but look at that thing sticking out. That is a tusk, or it's actually like an extended tooth that can be up to 10 feet long.
A 10-foot long tooth?
Yes, 10-foot long tooth. That's what makes the narwhal so interesting, right? So distinguishable when you look at it.
Why do they need that?
Probably for protection, probably to help maybe kind of guide them, feel things out. I don't know, but that's crazy. Now, a narwhal can be up to 20 feet long. That's long. And up to like 4,000 pounds. That's crazy. It's huge.
So big.
Yes. And the narwhal can stay underwater swimming for up to 25 minutes without having to come up and get air. 25 minutes. That's almost half. That's like watching, like a full cartoon. That's a long, long time. 25 minutes.
They're really amazing.
Yeah, the narwhal is a pretty interesting creature. Now let's talk about the snowshoe hare. The snowshoe, right? Let's show you a picture of a snowshoe so you know what we're talking about. Something that people would wear on their feet to help them walk across snow because they're very large shoes, snowshoes. The snowshoe hare has very large feet, so that helps it get across the snow, the deep snow, without sinking in. Have you ever walked in snow and your feet are sinking in? The snowshoe hare's feet are so big, they're like 7 inches long. So 7 inches, that's pretty long for something that only weighs 3 pounds. So it helps it get across the snow very easily. And the snowshoe hare can also jump up to 10 feet. 10 feet in one single jump. That's a long jump, kids. I mean, get out a tape measure when you're done, measure 10 feet, and imagine a rabbit, a little three-pound rabbit just
And
jumping
in the snow.
in the snow. And remember earlier we talked about the fox changing colors? The snowshoe hare does also. It changes colors in the summertime, it's brown, and in the wintertime, it's white. Again, so that it's harder to see from animals that may be looking for something to eat. That's such a cute little rabbit.
That was called camouflage?
Camouflage, you're right, Allie. Camouflage. It changes color so that you can't see it as well with the surroundings behind it. Good job. Camouflage. Now let's take a look at our last animal in our Arctic Animals episode. Now so far, most of the animals that we've talked about are closer to the North Pole usually than the South Pole. But this last animal is not near the North Pole at all ever. It's near the South Pole and it's a penguin. Take a look at this bird that cannot fly. Isn't that crazy, a bird that can't fly?
But they can do something else, right?
Very, very good swimmers. Is that what you meant? Very good swimmers. Yes, they are amazing swimmers and they can actually stay underwater for up to 20 minutes.
Wow.
20 minutes, that's amazing. And there's 18 different species. Now again, kids, that's kind of confusing, but what that means is that there's so many different kinds of penguins, they don't all look exactly the same. Speaking of how they look, they're white on the front and black on the back. Now we just talked about the snowshoe hare changing its color for camouflage. Penguins don't change color, but they do have two different colors on them, and that is actually for camouflage. Because when they're swimming, if they're swimming in water and you look down in the water, looking down, the ocean is very dark. So if you're above it and you look down, the black on its back makes it hard to see. But if you're in the water looking up, the sky makes it look very light. So if you're under a swimming penguin and you look up, like let's say that you're an animal that wants to eat a penguin, because that's what happens sometimes, just being honest. If you look up and see the white belly swimming of the penguin, it looks like it's just part of the sky outside the water. That's why a penguin is black on the back and white on the front, so that other animals have a hard time seeing it, whether they're above them swimming or below them swimming. Very cool feature of the penguin.
You know what else I like about penguins?
I think I know what you're gonna say, but tell me.
I like how they walk.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so funny and cute.
I agree, Allie. All right, kids, I had a lot of fun talking about these Arctic animals, and I can't wait to give you guys all the other episodes with the other animals from all around the world. It's gonna be so fun, so interesting. You know what time it is? It's time for the joke of the day! Okay, Allie, are you ready?
I'm ready.
What do polar bears like to eat?
Oh no.
Burritos.
That was a good one, Mr. Nick.
Thanks.
Hey, Mr. Nick.
What?
What else do polar bears like to eat?
I don't know.
Burgers.
Oh, that was a good one. Burgers and burritos. I liked it, Allie. Very good. All right, kids. We'll see you guys next time. If you like this, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel so you see all of our great episodes, including all the upcoming episodes of all the other animals from around the world. We'll see you guys next time. Bye! Let's get started. The first animal is an elephant. All right, look at that elephant. Did you know that an elephant is the largest land animal in the world? Yeah, that's crazy. They can be up to 13 feet tall, which is massive. That's like the size of, one-story house. That's getting up there. And can weigh as much as a small school bus.
That's big.
Yes, and in order to sustain those huge bodies, they eat up to 300 pounds of food a day.
I thought I ate a lot.
Yeah, 300 pounds of food a day. They eat grass and all the plants and stuff, but 300 pounds, they will get their money's worth at a salad buffet, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, an elephant.
You know what I think's funny?
What's that?
They're so big,
Mm-hmm.
but their tails are kind of small.
I know, like the tail, you see them swinging back and forth like they're trying to swat flies off of them. You think they'd use bigger tails, right? Yeah, that's a good point. I like that, Allie. Now, after taking a look at an elephant, let's take a look at another gigantic animal, the giraffe.
I like giraffes.
Why is that?
They're just so cool looking with their long necks.
That's right. You know why their necks are so long? So they can eat leaves off of trees that were normally higher than what other animals could reach. So that's why they're so tall.
That's smart. Then they never have to share their food.
Yeah, I mean, sharing is good sometimes too, right?
Oh, yeah, that's true. I guess sometimes.
And since they don't have hands to pull the leaves off the trees, they use long tongues to grab the leaves and pull them into their mouth. And since they live in Africa where it's very hot and lots of sun, their tongues are black, which helps protect them from getting sunburns on their tongues. That's crazy.
That's so smart.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And did you know that a baby giraffe, which is called a calf, which I think we had in one of our baby animal episodes, you might want to check that out. When it's born, it's 6 feet tall. That's as tall as me. And within like an hour, it can already get up and walk around.
That's amazing.
An hour. I know. Pretty cool. So we've already talked about the largest land animal in the world and the tallest land animal in the world. Did you know Africa also has the largest bird in the world? An ostrich. The largest, the strongest, and the fastest bird in the world is an ostrich. And when I say fast, I mean they run fast. Ostriches don't fly, they run super fast, but they are a bird. And you know what's actually pretty cool is, they run so fast. Most birds have 4 toes. Ostriches only have 2 toes. Their feet are actually more like hooves of what you would see like a deer. And deer, in case you didn't know, super fast runners, which is probably why the ostrich is such a fast runner. And also, Allie, have you ever heard that ostriches bury their head in the sand?
Yeah.
Why, I don't know. That is actually not true. They do not bury their head in the sand. I don't know where that came from, but they don't.
It's probably good they don't, because who would want their head in the sand?
That would probably, be hard to, the sand in your mouth. Like, who wants that? No. Ostriches don't do that, but they are very big, very fast, and very strong, and very interesting birds, if you ask me. All right, let's take a look now at a lion. We've been doing so many of these shows. I knew it was coming and you didn't scare me this time. All right. Usually she roars when we talk about animals like dinosaurs and lions and stuff. Always gets me. This time, I finally was ready for it. So let's talk about a lion. Now, did you know that a lion is not the largest cat? A tiger actually is. I didn't know that. I thought a lion would be, but a tiger is larger than a lion. Now, kids, if you have any cats at home, what do they usually do during the day?
Sleep, sleep, sleep.
I know, lions spend up to 20 hours a day, there's only 24 in a day, resting. Lazy, I know, right? And they actually do most of their hunting looking for food at night when it's cooler, which is smart because it's pretty hot. You don't want to get too hot out there. So lions, if you have cats at home, they act probably very similar to each other. And also, lions live in families called prides. So I don't know if your cats are very friendly with other cats or not, but lions, they are. They have their families and they stick together. All right, next, let's take a look at a zebra. Now, does a zebra look like a horse to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because zebras actually are very, very closely related to horses. And it's not exactly known why they have those stripes, but there are a few theories. Maybe it helps disperse the heat, keep them cool. could trick other animals. Maybe it's hard to tell exactly what's going on.
I know.
What?
Because it looks super cool.
It looks super cool. That's why I think they have stripes, obviously. It's actually also been sort of proven that the stripes keep flies away because they've taken actual horses, painted white stripes on them, and they get bit less by flies.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
That's interesting. And they have large herds that they tend to hang out in, but within those large herds, they have smaller families. So it's kind of like your neighborhood, right? You have a lot of families in one area, but then you have smaller families like your family in that neighborhood. And they spend a lot of time walking around looking for fresh grass to eat because that's all they eat, grass and plants. All right, next, let's take a look at a different kind of animal here. This is a crocodile. Now, a crocodile has one of the strongest bites in the world. That bite, yeah, very strong. It's kind of like you, right? Alligator.
A crocodile and alligator are not the same.
I said kind of like you. I didn't say you were the same. What's the difference? Can you tell me what makes alligators, I'm assuming, in your mind so much better?
Well, for one, we have really good fashion sense. I mean, look at my bow.
That's true. That's true. Okay.
And we're known for being a little nicer than those crocodiles.
A little nicer, yeah?
A little.
Yeah. Well, a crocodile can go up to actually a few months without eating. Now, I'm gonna guess maybe that's because they eat large meals at a time. And so they can actually go several months without eating, which is kind of crazy. And did you know that crocodiles also, now if you look back, they date back 200 million years, which means crocodiles are actually dinosaurs. That's pretty crazy. They date back to when the dinosaurs were around. And they can also hold their breath for up to 10 minutes. Probably hang out underwater, hold their breath. Exactly. And then they don't have to eat for the next few months. Next, let's take a look at a hippopotamus or a hippo. Now, did you know that a hippo is considered the most dangerous African animal? I mean, think about it.
It doesn't look that scary though.
I don't know. When you have things like lions and tigers and that kind of stuff out there, a hippo is considered the most dangerous because it will attack anyone or anything that comes in its area. I guess they're pretty protective of their families.
Oh.
Yeah. And they can hold their breath underwater for over 5 minutes, which, again, I don't know why that seems so amazing to me because I can probably only hold my breath for like 30 seconds. And did you know that a hippo's skin produces its own sunscreen? The sun out there in Africa is super strong, pretty darn hot, and they can actually produce their own sunscreen to protect their skin. That's amazing. Let's take a look now at a rhinoceros or a rhino. Now, rhinoceros means nose horn because they have that large horn coming off the nose, right? And did you know that a rhinoceros, for how big and tough they look, they actually only eat plants, not animals. So they're super nice.
Oh.
Yeah. And you know, we talked about how the hippo, their skin makes this natural sunscreen. Rhinoceros, not so lucky. So they actually roll around in the mud and get mud, I know, right? Get mud all over their skin to help protect them from the sun.
Well, that's smart, I guess. It's not like they have sunscreen out there.
Exactly. So the mud kind of cakes on. It probably cools them off too if it's, cool and muddy. And rhinoceroses do not tend to stay in large herds like other animals. They like to be by themselves. But do you know what kind of friends rhinos tend to have actually? Birds. Birds. Birds will sit on the rhinoceros. And think about it, if a rhino only eats plants, then you're not going to hurt the bird.
Does he know they're there?
Probably, because the birds eat bugs off of the rhino. So the rhinos have super thick skin. So bugs will live on and in the skin, and the birds will eat the bugs. So that's feeding the birds, and it's also helping the rhino, right? Stay clean.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's a cool little partnership. Let's take a look at a gorilla. Now, a gorilla is the world's largest primate. A primate is the monkey family. A gorilla can be 6 feet tall. So again, we're talking like about Mr. Nick's height, but can weigh 400 pounds.
Like 2 of you?
Like 2 of Mr. Nick. That's because he has a lot more muscles than Mr. Nick does. But even though they're so big and so strong, they mostly eat plants. So just like the rhino, not that dangerous to other animals. And gorillas are actually pretty smart because they've been seen using branches and rocks like tools. So maybe to try to open something up or make something. It's pretty impressive, I think.
That's smart.
Yeah. All right, let's take a look at our final animal that we're gonna talk about on our African animal episode. It is a cheetah. So, we have talked about the largest land animal, the largest bird, the fastest bird, the tallest land animal. Africa has got it all when it comes to the biggest, the baddest, the fastest, the tallest. And the cheetah is the fastest land animal. Fast. It can run up to 75 miles per hour. If you don't know what that means, if your mom or dad was driving that fast on the freeway, they would be pulled over and given a ticket. That's how fast it can go. 75 miles an hour. Fastest land animal in the world. And you know what else the cheetah has the distinction of? The cutest cubs. I mean, look at these things. Cheetahs have the cutest little babies. I don't know. I mean, like all little baby animals are cute. The cheetah though, the cutest cubs in the world. All right, everybody. I had a great time today learning about all of these great animals that live in Africa. The fastest, the strongest, the tallest, the largest, the most amazing animals in the world. I hope you guys had a great time too. And now, it's time for the joke of the day! All right, Allie, are you ready?
Yep.
Okay. How do you brush an alligator's teeth?
I don't know. How?
Very carefully. Be careful. She snaps. All right, guys. Actually, she chomps. I hope you had a great time with this one today. I know I did. If you did, give it a thumbs up. And make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can see all of our fun episodes, including all the other episodes that we're going to do in the Animals of the World series. We'll see you guys next time. Bye! Well, let's get started with the first animal from our Amazon rainforest episode. It's a jaguar. Ooh, take a look at that cat. Jaguar is the largest cat in the Western Hemisphere, which is like North America, South America, and it's the 3rd largest cat in the entire world behind a tiger and a lion. And have you ever seen a black panther?
Yeah.
Well, a panther and a jaguar, actually the same cat, but there's a genetic difference that makes the panther all black instead of light with black spots.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and you know, they say that the lion is the king of the jungle, but considering that the Amazon rainforest is like the largest jungle, I think we should call the jaguar the king of the jungle. The next animal is a bird. Let's take a look at a macaw.
Wow.
Super bright. These are very, very pretty, I think. There's actually 18 different species of macaw, so all different colors. And it's kind of neat is that, you know, people can actually have these as pets.
Really?
Yeah, now they are wild animals. They do live in the Amazon rainforest. That's why we're talking about them, but people do have these as pets. So I don't know if I'd ever have one as a pet just because I don't really know how to take care of birds, but that's a very, very beautiful bird, don't you think, Allie?
I think so.
And I think they actually talk too. Do you know that?
No.
Yeah, these birds can talk. They can communicate. It's pretty neat.
You might like it, Mr. Nick, because you already have a talking alligator as a pet.
Would you want a bird friend?
No, I'm okay.
Okay, maybe we'll let these macaws stay in the jungle.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at another bird. This is a toucan.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't think people usually have toucans as pets though. Look how big that beak is. And did you know that toucans, so they have a hard time sometimes finding places to live because they have to live in a tree that's either hollowed out or has a big enough hole for them to fit in, because look at how big those beaks are.
So they have to find their house to be big enough to fit their beak?
That's it, yeah. I mean, it's not a very big bird, but that's a big beak.
Yeah.
And they have several that usually live together, so you have to fit a few in there. It's not like they don't just build a nest, they actually live in a tree. So not that easy to find housing for a toucan. And kids, if you've ever had Fruit Loops, they may look like toucan sand. All right, let's take a look at this crazy animal. It's an anaconda.
Ah!
That is a huge snake. They can get up to 20 feet long. It's part of the boa constrictor family, which means that when it wants to eat something, it gives it a nice big squeeze first.
Mr. Nick, I like the colorful birds better.
You're not a fan of snakes?
No.
Yeah, you don't want none of that anaconda? Yeah, I think that's an animal. Actually, you know what? The anaconda in the rainforest, there's only 2 animals that are actually tough enough to eat that anaconda, because that anaconda is no joke. One, we've already seen, is the jaguar, and the other one we're going to see coming up later on. Yeah, I agree. That anaconda, I don't want to mess with one of those. All right, so we just saw an anaconda that Allie was not a fan of. So let's take a look at an animal you might think's a little bit more cute. A pink river dolphin.
A pink dolphin?
Right?
That's
Pink dolphin?
real?
That's a real thing. Yeah, it lives in the river, so it's a freshwater dolphin as opposed to what you would see in the ocean, a saltwater dolphin. And they're actually born gray, and they turn pink as they get older.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess it's maybe because of the fish that they eat, maybe high amounts of mercury, that's my guess, but they turn pink as they get older, which is makes them kind of different and interesting. And of course, your favorite color is pink. Okay, I have a feeling you're gonna like this next animal too, because it's kind of cute.
Yeah?
It's a sloth. Let's take a look at that sloth. What do you think, Allie?
Oh, they look kind of cuddly.
Yeah, they do, huh? Well, a sloth, they have pretty not good eyesight or hearing, so they use touch and smell to find their food, which I'm sure can't be that hard because they live in trees. They probably just eat the leaves right out of the trees, but they also sleep a majority of the day because they have very slow metabolism, which means that it takes a long time to process the food they eat. So they just hang out and sleep. And they have really huge claws that they hang from the branches. They don't actually hang using their fingers or toes or whatever. The claws hook on, so they could be totally asleep, totally passed out, and they won't fall out of the tree because the claws are just like hooks hanging onto those branches.
That sounds like fun.
You think you'd want to sleep upside down hanging from a tree?
I think so.
Actually, we had a picture of you hanging or sleeping in a hammock. Remember in the seasons episode that we did? You were sleeping in a hammock which is hanging from a tree, so
I
yeah.
think it's just like that. I can sleep and eat all day long.
Wow, sounds like a sloth has it made on vacation. All right, let's take a look at another bird. But this bird is a little bit bigger and a little bit more fierce than the 2 birds we've already seen. This is a harpy eagle. Now, the harpy eagle, usually the male animals seem to be bigger than the females, but a female harpy eagle can be up to twice as big as a male and can weigh up to 24 pounds.
A bird?
A bird that flies. I mean, ostriches can get up there, but they don't fly. Same with penguins. They're full of blubber and they gotta keep warm in the Antarctic. However, a harpy eagle is a 24-pound flying bird with 5-inch long talons. That means their talons or their claws can be 5 inches. That's longer than my finger by about 1.5 inches. Can you imagine a 24-pound bird take your turkey on Thanksgiving and imagine that big thing coming at you with talons longer than my finger. That is no joke. That bird.
That sounds so scary.
Yeah, I'm telling you, the Amazon rainforest is not for animals that cannot protect themselves. That is a crazy place. All right, remember earlier when I said that there were only 2 animals that could take on an anaconda? One was a jaguar. Well, here's the other one. It's a black caiman, which is a lot like an alligator. Hey, did you hear that? You didn't like that anaconda, but being an alligator, Knuckles, looks like you could take him on.
I'll pass.
Yeah, well, that's a good idea. You just go hang out with the sloth in your hammock.
Yeah.
Well, the caiman, the black caiman, like I said, looks a lot like an alligator. It can get up to 13 feet long, and it hangs out in the water waiting for animals to come, maybe get a little drink, and then boom, pulls them into the water. And I think you know what happens after that. All right, let's move on to the world's largest rodent. Now you would think that's pretty disgusting looking, right? But I think it's pretty cute. Let's take a look at a capybara. All right, this is the world's largest rodent. They live in pretty big families, but I don't know, he looks like, I'm thinking rodents like rats and stuff, but I think he looks kind of cute. What do you think?
Yeah, he's not too bad looking.
Like a guinea pig maybe, but way, way bigger. Those things can get actually pretty darn big. And they're really, really good swimmers. And they can hold their breath for up to 5 minutes.
Wow.
That's impressive because their lungs, they can't be that big. 5 minutes. And they do that so that they can hide from animals that may be trying to get them, so they can pop in that water, hold their breath, and by the time they come up, the animal I was trying to look for a meal took off. But that's a capybara, the world's largest rodent. All right, we are at our last animal in our episode talking about the animals of the Amazon rainforest. And our last animal is a spider monkey. Let's take a look at a spider monkey. Wow. Now you see that tail? He can actually use that tail like a 5th arm. So he can hold himself and move himself fully around with the tail. So that's pretty neat, because imagine having like 4 limbs that you could normally use to swing from trees and grab food. Then all of a sudden you have a 5th one. That's why it's like a spider monkey. It's kind of like Spider-Man, right?
Yeah.
Pretty neat. And did you know that these guys here are so smart that they can break branches and throw them at animals or people that they think are trying to harm them? Yeah, so if you see an animal that's trying to come and get you, you're in the trees, why not start throwing branches at it to get it to leave you alone, right?
Wow.
Pretty smart way of getting away from potential predators. All right, I had such a great time today talking about all these animals of the Amazon rainforest. I'm really having a lot of fun doing these episodes because I'm learning so much about these animals from all around the world that I would probably never ever get to see in person. I hope you guys are enjoying them too. And right now, it's time for the joke of the day. Okay, Allie, are you ready?
Ready.
What type of key won't open a door?
I don't know.
A monkey.
That
Oh, thanks. I thought it fit in well with our Amazon animals. All right, guys. I hope you love this episode. Give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see all of our other episodes that we're doing. We'll see you guys next time. Bye. Let's get started with an animal I'm sure you are all familiar with. It's a kangaroo. All right, so kangaroos are what we call marsupials, which means that they let their young, their babies, sit in a pouch and they develop in a pouch. So like when regular babies are born, or maybe babies that come out of eggs, they're ready to go. They need help from the moms, but marsupials, the babies keep developing in that pouch. Like you see that little baby sticking his head out of that pouch right there. That's cute, right?
That seems really comfortable.
Probably is. It'd be kind of nice. I mean, actually, we do carry babies in pouches a lot, actually. Just, have to strap them on first. And did you know that a kangaroo can get hopping up to 43 miles per hour?
Wow, that's fast.
Very fast. And they're the largest marsupial that doesn't walk. They hop everywhere, and they have huge, large, strong tails that they can actually lean back on to use as like a little chair and kick their feet out at anything that they feel a threat coming at them. So very interesting that they don't walk, they hop, and that tail is really, really strong and powerful too. All right, so that was a kangaroo. I told you it's gonna get a little bit more odd, We're gonna go with another one you may have heard of and seen before. It's a koala. Oh, take a look at that koala.
They're really cute.
Now, here's where it gets a little interesting because we always call these koala bears, but a koala is not a bear.
What?
It's not. No, it's actually a marsupial as well. They have pouches as well.
Huh.
Yeah, and koalas, they have very slow metabolism and they must sleep up to 20 hours a day.
Like a sloth?
Like a sloth, if you saw that exactly. In our Amazon animals, sloths sleep so much, they have slow metabolisms, and koalas, 20 hours a day of sleep. That's
I like these cuddly animals that sleep a lot.
They just hang out and sleep all day. Yeah, I don't know if it'd make a good pet, but I mean, he sleeps 20 hours a day, maybe. All right, now let's move on to another animal here. This is a dingo. Now a dingo looks like a dog, and it is basically the size of a medium-sized dog that you would normally maybe have in your house. Now, you know, usually you'll see coyotes and wolves and other dog-like animals in the wild, but this one looks a little bit more like a dog. It does bark also like a dog.
Really?
Yeah, and they have 4 to 5 pups per litter, that's a pretty good amount. And they will eat basically anything. They do not discriminate. And they, even though they're not that big, have been known to actually even eat buffalo.
Wow.
That's a big animal to take down, but I'm sure they hunt in packs, which is how they pull that off. But a dingo, that's a dingo. All right, so we've looked at a koala, a kangaroo, and a dingo, which is like a wild dog. And I said it was gonna be crazy. That's not too crazy yet.
No.
It's gonna get crazy. Let's take a look at a platypus.
What is happening?
It just got crazy. All right, so this guy has the body and a tail like a beaver, but it has webbed feet and a bill like a duck. It can be up to 20 inches long. So let's see, from the back of its tail, right there. That's not that big.
No, it's not his size that's crazy. He's like a beaver and a duck.
I know, and here's where it gets even crazier.
Crazier?
His back feet have little spurs that he can get venom out of. That's poison. So now you took basically a beaver, a duck, and a snake maybe? Like he can poke you and stick you with poison.
My, Mr. Nick.
Now the poison, if you got stung by a platypus, it'll hurt, but it's not enough to really be too dangerous. But they think that maybe they use that just, you know, to let other animals know, hey buddy, back off, don't mess with me. But that's a platypus. That's one of the craziest animals I think I've ever seen. And they're in Australia. All right, here we go. Now we're gonna take a look at another animal. Now kids, have you ever heard of the cartoon character, the Tasmanian devil? Maybe, right? He spins around and gets all crazy. There is actually an animal called a Tasmanian devil. Let's take a look at this guy. Whoa, he does not look happy. Now he's the size of about your average house cat, all right? And he is all meat eater. This guy, he has those teeth for a reason. And he's also a marsupial, which means he has his little babies that, I think 4 at a time, and then they're like the size of a grain of rice, and they sit in that pouch until they mature. And yeah, it's interesting. Marsupials are just amazing to me, but
most of them seem kind of cuddly and nice, but I don't know about this one.
yeah, this guy not so much. It's a little bit little scary looking, isn't he? Yeah, Tasmanian devil. Now I see where they got that cartoon character from, because if he's anything like this guy, I could see he looks like the tough guy, don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's go back to something that looks a little bit more friendly, like a wombat. Oh wow.
Aww.
Look at that guy.
I like these.
Now wombat is also a marsupial, but this guy's pouch is on his back.
That sounds fun.
Like a piggyback ride, right? Just in the pouch in the back. These guys, they can get pretty big, but for how big and cuddly they look, they can actually run up to 25 miles an hour for up to 1.5 minutes.
Wow.
25 miles an hour for 1.5 minutes. That is fast and for a long time. That's pretty impressive. Yeah, that wombat, he's a lot more friendly looking than that Tasmanian devil. But, you know, I always saw the teeth of that Tasmanian devil. The wombat might be able to put him up a little bit against the Tasmanian devil because his teeth never stop growing. Kind of like a gopher. I don't think a gopher's teeth stop growing either. I don't know if they like file them down or what, but that's just another interesting fact. All right, so the only type of animal we haven't really talked about yet in Australia, a continent that's surrounded by water, is a fish. So why not talk about the great white shark? What? Yeah, excuse me, yeah. All right, the great white shark. This is the world's largest predatory fish, which means he eats other fish. It can be up to 20 feet long.
Wow.
Yes. And did you know that they have 300 teeth?
Ah!
Wow, 300 teeth, and they're layered in 7 different rows. Oh my, that's amazing. Great white shark. That has got to be the king of the ocean right there. Okay, so we just talked about our first fish. We haven't talked about a bird yet. A bird that you would see in Australia is an emu. An emu, very similar to the ostrich that we saw in our Africa episode. An emu is the second largest bird in the world, only behind an ostrich. And they can be just over 6 feet tall. And they have 2 sets of eyelids. One for blinking, like that, right? And the other helps keep dust and dirt out of their eyes, which I guess makes sense if you live out in the middle of Australia. It can probably be pretty dusty out there.
That's really smart and helpful.
Absolutely. Okay, now I said that Australia had some crazy animals, and I think we've seen a few already, but this one might top them all. This is an echidna. Echidna, take a look at that guy. It has spines like a porcupine, a beak like a bird, a pouch like a kangaroo, all the other marsupials we've talked about, and lays eggs like a reptile. What? What happened with this guy?
I don't know. I'm very confused.
The eggs hatch after only 10 days in the pouch. And when they hatch, the little babies are smaller than a jelly bean. And they must stay in the pouch like all the other marsupials until they mature and they're, big enough to kind of take care of themselves. Australia, you guys have some very interesting animals down there. All right, we are up to our last animal now in our Australian animals episode. And this one, I could just look at it and be amazed. I don't even need to hear anything about it. This is a thorny devil.
Wow.
Wow. Like, what? I'm just speechless. Like, this guy can live in the wild for 20 years, and it seems pretty obvious why. Who would want to eat that? Look at that.
It looks way too thorny.
How do you pick that up? How do you eat that with your mouth? That's amazing. The thorny devil. Look at that.
That's good protection.
That is some protection for real right there. Have you ever tried grabbing a rose and then poked by a thorn? This guy's covered in thorns. It's amazing that. Just smart. Every animal should have that. Good job, thorny devil. Very smart. I had so much fun talking about all these animals from Australia today. I learned about and saw so many animals that I'd never seen before. I hope you guys have fun with that. The echidna, the Tasmanian devil, the platypus. Amazing animals that so interesting to learn about. All right, guys, I hope you had a great time today. And now it's time for the joke of the day. Ready, Allie?
Yes.
Okay. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Kanga.
Kanga who?
Actually, it's kangaroo.
You got me.
All right, guys, I had a great time with you today. Allie, did you have a great time?
Yes.
Give us a like if you liked the episode. Subscribe to the channel so you see all of the great episodes we're doing. We'll see you guys next time. Bye. Okay, let's take a look at our first animal, which is a javelina. A javelina is kind of like a pig, right? Pig-like animal, and they don't have very good eyesight, which is interesting because they come out as it starts to get dark at night to the early morning. So I guess they don't really need great eyesight if it's dark anyways. So they use their nose and they do a lot of smelling to find their food. And it's been said that they really won't mess with people, but don't come between them and their babies, because if you do, they have been known to put up a good fight for their babies, which means they're good parents, I guess, right? Yeah. That's a javelina. I've seen those before in person, by the way. And yeah, I did not get up close to it, no, because it was they travel together, the family and everything. Stay away, let them do their thing.
Were they all big, or were there any like cute little babies?
You know, it's interesting. I think the big ones are not that cute, but the babies, like every other baby animal, they're pretty darn cute. Yes, they did have little ones with them too, so stay away from the babies because the adults won't like it. All right, next, let's take a look at a coyote. All right, a coyote is smaller than a wolf. They're about 40 pounds at full size. And the baby coyotes, now they live in packs, like the families together. The babies, they don't even open their eyes all the way for 10 days.
They must be really sleepy.
Huh, yeah, sleepy. They're just starting to figure out what's going on, right? And they don't even walk for the first 20 days. You remember when we were talking about some of the other animals in our other episodes, like the caribou? They walk within like 3 hours of being born. These guys don't walk for almost 3 weeks. I've seen coyotes in person, and they're not gonna mess with people very much. They're more scared of us than we are of them. One time it was kind of cute. I was on a hike, and you could hear this little baby coyote. He was like whining and howling, and then you could see the parents walk up to where he was at and made sure he was okay. And then they went back out and kept doing what they were doing. But it was like, Mom, Mom. And you could see them walk up to where he was. It was so cute. They was like, what's going on, buddy? You okay? Okay, we're gonna go back out. Coyotes, pretty cute. So a coyote is kind of in the dog family. Let's talk about an animal that's in the cat family, a mountain lion, also known as a cougar and a puma, okay? Mountain lions, they're pretty fast. They can run up to 40 to 50 miles per hour. That's fast, very fast.
It looks very big and strong.
Yeah, they're pretty big and definitely no joke to mess with. They're pretty strong. Now, did you know that a baby mountain lion can sometimes choose to stay with its mommy for up to 2 years? A lot of animals, like after the first 9 months to a year, they kind of go on their own, but the baby mountain lion can stay with mom for 2 years. And so if you have a cat at home, cats purr, they meow, they make noises, right? Does your cat roar? No, your cat at home doesn't roar. Did you know that a mountain lion doesn't roar either?
What?
Yeah, lions and
That's
tigers,
fun.
they
Roar!
That's right, you should teach them. I have not seen a mountain lion in person, but I know people who have. And they're a pretty cool looking cat, but yeah, it's interesting. A cat like that size cannot roar. That's weird to me, but kind of a cool fact. Next, let's look at a Gila monster. That's a pretty scary sounding name, right?
Yeah.
It's a lizard, a very big, thick lizard, as you can see. Now, he does have venom or poison, so if he bites, there's poison in there. They're not too dangerous to humans, and it's actually thought that they don't really use the poison so much to get their food, but maybe as defense to fight off other animals.
So only if they're kind of like mad if someone's getting them?
Yeah, like if I was trying to attack the Gila monster, he could bite me and I might go, ooh, ow, I'm gonna leave you alone. So that's what they use their venom for. They're not very fast like most lizards, so they sneak up on the animals that they want to eat. So if you're sneaking up on it, you probably don't need much venom anyway, you already got it. So yeah, that's a Gila monster. Despite its scary sounding name, I think it's probably not that bad of an animal, really. I think it's getting a bad reputation with that name. All right, speaking of reptiles with poisonous bites, let's take a look at a rattlesnake.
Oh no.
I know you're not a fan of snakes. Yeah, so that's a rattlesnake, and there's 36 different kinds of rattlesnakes. Yeah, that's pretty big. They can be up to like 5 feet long.
No.
Yeah, yep. And you know, rattlesnakes, they don't have hands, obviously, so it's hard to feel, you know, what they're maybe looking for to eat. But did you know that they have a heat sensing organ in their face that can detect where animals are by feeling heat? Because we all give off body heat. So it can sense heat, and that's how they help find what they want to eat.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I just thought maybe they used their tongue.
Yeah, they do use their tongue to smell. You're right, absolutely. But they also use a heat sensing organ in their face. And kids, I mean, if you don't know, a rattlesnake is called a rattlesnake because it has a rattle on its tail that it shakes if it wants to let you know, hey buddy, you're a little too close, you might want to back up. And it makes that sound like a rattle. You hear that? Get the heck out. I have seen a rattlesnake in person, and yeah, not one you ever really want to be caught off guard by, that's for sure. Okay, next, let's take a look at an animal that's a little more cuter than one of these Gila monsters or rattlesnakes. How about a jackrabbit?
I love rabbits.
Yeah, so this here, they can vary in size. These guys can be, you know, kind of cute looking little guys. They could also be pretty darn big. They can go 30 miles per hour. That's
so
fast. That's fast. And they can also jump up to 10 feet, just like that snowshoe hare we talked about in the Arctic Animals episode. 10 feet in one jump.
That's amazing.
Yeah, they are. That is amazing. I've seen a bunch of these guys around, and the little ones are pretty cute, like little cottontail guys. That's what they look like. Yeah, and I've seen some other ones that live near the mountains that are huge. But overall, I think they're pretty neat animals. All right, next, let's take a look at a bobcat. I think the bobcats are kind of cute. I don't know, I think maybe because they're not as big, they look less scary, but they are very good hunters. They're very sneaky. Now, a bobcat from head to tail is about 3 feet long. Now, that's head to tail, including the tail. That's not that big.
So like a little bigger than a cat in a house?
From head to tail, yeah, I'd say a cat in a house, including the tail. Yeah, they're bigger than that. And they're only about 15 inches tall. That's not that tall. So maybe that's why I think they look a little cuter than those typical, you know, big ferocious animals, the cats we've been looking at. But they are very good hunters. They're very sneaky. And I have not seen one of these in person, but I know people who have seen them out in the wild, kind of near houses and stuff. And yeah, as long as you're not messing with them, I don't think they'll mess with you. That's a bobcat. Okay, let's take a look at an animal I think everybody knows about, but maybe don't realize there are actually wild ones out there. Horses.
What?
Yeah, so did you know that there are actually wild horses? Yeah, horses generally, like they live in stables or barns. They're owned by people or ranchers or private owners, right? But there are actually about 500 wild horses that still live in Arizona. They have no owner, they're not branded, they are wild horses.
Do they have to find their own like food and water and places to sleep?
Absolutely, yeah. Thankfully where they live, there's probably lots of options for food because they eat, you know, plants and grass and stuff like that. But yeah, they just roam free. No owners, no stables, nothing. There are actually wild horses in the United States Southwest. That's pretty interesting.
Wow, I didn't know that.
All right, you know what we haven't talked about yet?
No.
Any kind of birds.
Oh.
There are quite a few really big, interesting birds living in the Sonoran Desert, and one of them is the great horned owl. The great horned owl is the largest owl in the Sonoran Desert. It is up to 2 feet tall. Now let's think about that, guys. A bobcat, I said, was about that tall, okay? The great horned owl is about that tall. Much taller, almost 9 inches taller than a bobcat. That's big. And they cannot move their eyes. So they can turn their head up to 270 degrees, which is like looking all the way back here and looking all the way back there.
That's
really,
kind of
really
silly.
But if you can't turn your eyes side to side, then you have to be able to turn your head really far. And they have extra bones in their neck to make it so they can turn their head way further than us regular people can. All right, let's talk about an animal here that is kind of odd looking, actually. It's called a ringtail.
Aw, I think it's kind of cute.
It's kind of cute. Looks like a lemur, huh? But it's part of the raccoon family. And it's an amazing climber. Very, very good climber. And its back feet can rotate a full 180 degrees the opposite direction to help it climb down objects just as well as it can climb up. So
That's helpful.
yeah, really good climber. It's the state mammal of Arizona, so that shows you, I mean, there's quite a few of them, I guess, in the state of Arizona. But it's kind of cute. It has a ringed tail, like its name, a ringtail. Little beady eyes. Yeah, I don't know. It's a different kind of animal, but I think it's kind of cute. All right, we are down to our last animal. And how could you talk about the Southwest? We already talked about coyotes without mentioning a roadrunner, right? The roadrunner and the coyote, the cartoon. All right, I see roadrunners all the time, and they are a lot bigger than most birds, but not nearly as big as the cartoon makes them look like, right? Let's see the pictures here. From beak to tail, they're about 2 feet. So that's a pretty good size for a bird. And they are, the cartoon makes them look like they're like the victim all the time. They will eat a lot.
Really?
They will eat smaller birds, they will eat rattlesnakes, they will eat other lizards, they'll eat just about anything. These guys, they mean business, which is probably, why they're so big, right?
Are they fast like the cartoon?
They are. They can run up to 20 miles per hour. That's pretty fast for a bird, right? And I've seen them fly, but mostly they walk and they run all over the place. So yeah, roadrunner, definitely something you see when you're in the Southwest. All right, everybody, I hope you had a great time today learning about a lot of the animals that live where I live. A lot of animals that I've actually seen before in real life, not a zoo or on the internet. In real life, I've seen these guys. So I hope you enjoyed learning about them. And now it's time for the joke of the day. Okay, Allie, are you ready?
Yes.
What is a snake's favorite subject in school?
I don't know.
History.
I
Like that? All right, guys, we hope you liked this episode. Watch all the other episodes we've been doing about animals from all around the world. Like the episode if you want. Subscribe to the page so that way you can see everything that we're doing. We'll see you guys next time. Bye! All right, so the first animal we're gonna be talking about is a Bengal tiger.
Ooh.
Yeah, pretty. And like they have like that extra fur coming around the jawline there. It's so cool looking. Now, if you saw our episode where we talked about the African animals, then you heard that the lion is the second largest cat animal in the world. And in our Amazon episode, you saw that the jaguar is the third largest cat in the world. Well, that means that the tiger is the largest cat animal in the world. And these Bengal tigers are normally found mostly in India, and they can weigh up to 450 pounds, and including their tail, can be 9 feet long. That's
so big.
That's like the length of a car, right? That's crazy. 9 feet long. And get this. All right, for such a big cat, it must have a big bite, right? Their canine tooth, this tooth right here, that sharp one that bites things, can be up to 4 inches long. 4 inches. Let me put. That's longer than my middle finger. What? By a lot. Could you imagine getting bit by a tooth that big? Yeah, not even close, Allie. 4-inch long tooth. That's the largest of any cat. The Bengal tiger. That's a bad cat right there.
Hey, Mr. Nick.
What's up?
Do you think the tigers Roar!
Oh, you got me. Gosh, I didn't see it coming that time. You got me, Allie. Good job. The next animal is a panda bear.
Aww, I like pandas.
Yeah, they're pretty cute, huh? All right, a panda. Now, this guy eats a lot. So much he eats up to 12 hours a day. That's a lot.
I ate a lot.
I know, right? And they eat mostly bamboo. They can actually eat small animals, I'm just being honest. But mostly bamboo, up to 26 pounds of bamboo in a day? How's there any more forest for them to live in? 26 pounds a day. Amazing, yeah. And you know, most bears, when it gets cold, they hibernate. Pandas do not hibernate. No, they actually just travel a little bit down further the mountains that they usually will live in and to a warmer area when it gets cold, but they don't go to sleep for long periods of time like most bears, probably because they need to eat so much. The next animal we're going to take a look at is called a red panda. Look at that. Does that look like the panda bear we just saw?
Mr. Nick.
What's that?
Is that the wrong name?
That's what it's called, a red panda, but that's actually not a bear like the panda bear, no. The red panda is more closely related to a raccoon. And it kind of looks like a raccoon,
It does
right?
look like a raccoon.
Yeah, and it's actually the size of like your typical house cat, so it's not that big. Let's take a look at an orangutan. Oh, I like these guys.
I do too. They're one of my favorites at the zoo.
I do, yeah, I see them at the zoo sometimes. I really like seeing the orangutans. All right, so an orangutan is also called a great ape, and the name orangutan, is Malaysian for people of the forest. So I guess they think that they kind of look like people who live in the forest, which I mean, kind of.
You know what's funny, Mr. Nick?
What?
When I saw them at the zoo, I saw a baby one playing with Legos.
Really?
Yeah, like a person.
He was actually playing with Legos? Oh wow, yeah, I've seen them play games and stuff and kind of play with each other, but wow, Legos. Yeah, maybe these guys are pretty smart. All right, next, let's take a look at an animal here that I have a question about this guy, okay? This is a Bactrian camel. Now, what is the difference between this type of camel and maybe other camels? Do you know?
I don't know.
This camel's the only one that has 2 humps.
2 humps?
2 humps, that's
Why does
right.
he need 2?
Well, actually, people say that the humps store water, but that's not true. They actually store fat for energy when times get a little bit tough, maybe. You know, they don't have as much food available, so they have that fat available to store as energy to use when maybe it gets cold. You know, because in Asia, it can get pretty cold in many parts of that continent. So the Bactrian camel has 2 humps, unlike a lot of the camels you might see in Africa with 1. Okay, let's take a look at this next animal, Malayan tapir.
That's something.
Yeah, it kind of looks like an anteater, right? So this guy, the Malayan tapir, can be up to 6 feet long and weigh 720 pounds.
He's huge.
Yes, that's the largest of all the tapirs in the tapir family, 720 pounds. And they are plant eaters, but just like we saw in our African animal episode with the hippo, they're also plant eaters. They can be pretty mean and aggressive to other animals and people. So I think that's just part of their defense mechanism, right? To keep people and animals away that they fear might try to hurt them.
Yeah.
They're not gonna eat them. They get pretty mean and can fight them, I guess. And at 720 pounds, I would not want that coming at me. No way. All right, so in our Amazon episode, we talked about an anaconda. And in the Sonoran Desert episode, we talked about the rattlesnake.
Oh no.
I think you see where I'm going with this, Allie, and I know you're not a fan of snakes, but here we go. In Asia, you might come across a cobra.
Ah!
Well, okay, well, I guess I'm gonna finish the show by myself, or at least when I'm talking about the snakes, because Allie just left me. Hey, let's talk about the cobra. Look at this guy. So when he feels angry, he's a venomous snake, so he has poison, right? he can either bite or spit that venom at a predator who's trying to get him. But he stands up tall and he sways back and forth, and you can see he kind of puffs that hood out around his head to make him look big, and he hisses. It's pretty cool, I think. I mean, a rattlesnake, it warns you by shaking its little rattle. The anaconda, I'll just give you a big old hug until you go to sleep. Hi, Allie. Oh.
Is it safe yet?
No, we're still talking about the cobra. I don't know if you want to come back yet. Okay. Yeah, and so he gets up and he gets in there and he's showing how big and bad and scary he is, so you don't mess with him. And obviously it works because my little sidekick Allie here, well, she left him alone. All right, let's move on to the last animal. Allie, you can come back now. We're done talking about the, I won't say it again. Okay, I won't tell her. We're talking about snakes. We're done talking about snakes. We're good. All right, the last animal we're gonna talk about in today's episode about the Asian animals is an Asian elephant.
Oh, I like elephants.
I thought you liked that a lot better than the, I won't say snake again. I won't say, she didn't hear me say snake, did she? Okay, let's talk about the elephants. So the Asian elephant is the largest mammal in Asia, but it's not as large as the African elephant that we talked about in the African animal episode. The African elephants could be up to 13,000 pounds, but the Asian elephant, a mere small 11,000 pounds.
So tiny.
Nothing. And did you know that the Asian elephants, the women, the females, they live in herds together, but the male elephants actually tend to live alone?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And I said that the panda eats about 26 pounds of food a day. That's like a crumb to this Asian elephant, because the Asian elephant eats up to 300 pounds a day. Is that right? 300 pounds?
That's so much food.
That's crazy. I don't know, where do they even get all that from? It's amazing. Okay, well, I guess it makes sense why they weigh 11,000 pounds. All right, well, that concludes our episode of Animals from Asia. And if you need to see any of our other episodes that we did from our Animals Around the World series, go check them out, because lots of interesting animals, learn a lot, see animals from all over the world that you would never probably ever get to see in person unless you live there or went to the zoo. And now you know what time it is. It's time for the joke of the day! Okay, Allie, are you ready?
Ready.
What goes black, white, black, white, black, white, black, white?
I don't know.
A panda bear rolling down a hill.
That's a good one, Mr. Nick.
Thanks, Allie. All right, everybody, if you liked that episode, give it a thumbs up. Tell us you liked it. Hit subscribe so you get to see all the episodes that we're doing. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye!
Mr. Nick, he's our pig. It's Mr. Nick. Yay!